today what we're going to do is we're going to give our students an opportunity to present their final project for a collaboration between Betty's art class, their design class, and my object-oriented programming class, my CIS class. What we asked them to do is come together and work on building a collaborative project. Now, what would be more fun to do as a collaborative project than to actually build a video game? What they had to do is the design students had to come in and design how the game is going to work, what it's going to look like, how it's going to be laid out on the screen, what all the graphic assets are going to be, what all the images and everything are going to be, and they had to build those from scratch. Likewise, the object-oriented programming class had to write all the code to make this work. They had to start from scratch and write all the code using the object-oriented techniques that we've been learning about, not only in this class, but all the previous classes up to this point.
The first kind of step for our group was to brainstorm. We kind of landed on Sorry partially because I love it. It's a fun game and I was pretty passionate about it. Jacob had shown us a little bit of what he could do with programming. So we had talked about doing card games, doing a board game. So our first kind of step was to design the theme for the board game, and we landed on monsters just because it was something fun. We could go a couple different ways with it depending on how the design went. And it can go really creepy, really cute. So I started out with some monster designs. These are just a couple of the different designs. Some of the other pre-work we did was finding a couple different fonts we could use. We have our color palette. This was just kind of a basic idea. I had a couple different color palettes picked out that we could kind of talk about and kind of use as a launching pad. So this was the one that we kind of decided on, and you'll see later in the game we did make changes to it based on what we needed.
So I took the sketches that you saw before and I scanned them into the computer, and then I went with the pen tool on Illustrator and outlined all of the monsters and used the color palette to kind of play around with the colors and see which color looked nicest on which monster. We did have to switch it up a little bit, like on some of the parts of the board, the circles are some monsters are different colors so that they don't blend into the background.
I was kind of working on the original first layout of the board and where we would put the Abominate on the board and just different backgrounds on it. So my very first 3 different sketches are up here. We were just kind of playing around with the colors of the color palette that we already had, and then we started to think, okay, well, let's make these monsters a little more creepy. So I started playing around with slime and a goo looking thing, changed them into more of the splatter look, which is at the very end, and we thought that brought in the gooey kind of creepy look of monsters, so it wasn't just super playful and this didn't seem just like a kid's game. It became more of a child to teenager game and even an adult game.
These were the original cards, how we had them, but through the process we figured they got too big for the board, they wouldn't fit. This is how they are now. We had to make them smaller, and we kept the numbers the same font. I actually had to add the bottom part of the 1 because it looked like a 7. There was no bottom part to that. And the 4 almost looked like a 9, so I had to stretch that around and make it better. And the game pieces, the little pawns, are the top eyes. Those are the main ones that stay on there. But we decided on the little slides, or when you click it, it would blink.
Yeah, this is just started the program. We've got our start screen that pops up. We've got, of course, you can select your number of players there. We've got anywhere from 2 to 4, and then type in the names of your whoever's playing. And we've also got this rules screen down here, so if you want to get the actual rules for the board game, it pops up there. And we can start. The board comes up here, and then we've got the indication of whose turn it is down there at the bottom. whoever's turn it is, they'll click the card pile in the top. And then your card that you drew comes up down here.
So as far as programming, the biggest decisions we sort of had to make were how we wanted to make it move from piece to piece. So what we ended up doing was putting like picture boxes on each square, and then we had a class for the type piece and square. So it moves from square to square, changing each image on the picture box every time it moves. And then so likewise, there's 3 different main classes, one for each player, and then one for each pieces, so there'd be 16 of those. And then for the squares, which the way we did the squares was we did some in a linked list, which is you have the data, and then you have like a part pointing to the next one. So this one will have a part pointing to that one to that one, and so on. We did some that are free float and others that are free floating, like these ones. They don't really have a next or a previous. And then I guess the biggest things we had to take away or change from the game with a deadline was originally we wanted to have an option where you could do 1 player and you could play a computer, but with time constraints we didn't get to that.
It seems like, the investment from both teams at this far along is pretty significant. I'm just wondering, are you guys going to finish this so it could be an app? It's like be something that...
Yeah, definitely after finals I would like to keep messing around with it, but yeah, I'd like to get a little more done with it and keep working on it after that.